Hi everyone, Shoothany Gaze Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new I Am Your Destruction album. I Am Your Destruction is the pseudonym of an Austin, Texas-based electronic music producer who's been at it for a handful of years now. This is his first full-length release ever, and his first official commercial release in about 4 years from what I understand. Any savvy music fan is going to give this album a listen, and the very first label that's going to pop up in your head as you're listening to it is CHIPTUNE, which is a very small but passionate and driven subculture in electronic music that prefers to hear sounds at 8-bit quality. For frame of reference, the kinds of compositions and synth timbres that you loved hearing pump out of your NES in the 80s and 90s. There are composers from this era of video game music like Masato Nakamura and Koji Kondo who are looked back upon fondly by gamers and fans of 8-bit and chiptune music alike. And now that video game music has moved on past the limitations of 8-bit, this sound has kind of died out in terms of popular culture. But in the underground, it thrives with a new string of artists that are bringing 8-bit timbres into new compositional territory, even fusing it with different genres. Artists like Anamanaguchi, who bring 8-bit sounds together with J-pop as well as pop-punk, or even Crystal Castles, who on their first record and a handful of songs have fused 8-bit sounds with electropop and synth-punk, which in my opinion is the closest 8-bit music has come to becoming hip music. And I'm not really sure if it'll ever come that close again, even with bands like Anamanaguchi being as awesome as they are. Because I think a lot of people stumbling across 8-bit music just kind of get distracted by what they see as a gimmick and completely ignore how good the music underneath the sound might be. And this is all something that I Am Your Destruction's music makes me kind of reflect upon, because on this album we have the sounds of 8-bit music and chiptune music being fused together with some of the most popular ideas in music today: EDM, dubstep, progressive house, and trap. Despite the very crunchy and bit-crushed and brittle synth timbres and pieces of percussion all over this record, the bass kicks are actually pretty punchy. Numerous tracks on this record have the explosive qualities of a high-octane DJ set at the Electric Daisy Festival. But the added roughness of the saw wave synthesizers on this thing and the general 8-bit chaos adds to the insanity and the viscera of some of the drops on these songs too. For sure, the 8-bit sounds bring a lot of noise to the mix of these songs, but this guy is also influenced by some of the righteous and anthemic compositions that used to land on NES video game soundtracks like Mega Man. So this project brings a certain finesse to melody that some other EDM DJs might lack as they are crafting their very sugary, straightforward radio pop hits. So 8-bit and EDM on this record, it's most definitely a two-way street, and the results are mostly really great. The song No Closure sounds like the soundtrack to the most intense 8-bit racing game ever. It has these really driving kicks, really bright synthesizers with these sliding melodies that are so sticky, so catchy, they're like candy. The song Monko has a polyrhythmic beat that I think is really great, and there's kind of a very chilly, nocturnal feel to some of the melodies on this track too, and just the 8-bit timbres of these synths add a bit of griminess to the darkness of the composition here. And the songs TURNT and Bury the Ratchet go unbelievably into a trap direction. It's like listening to something that would back a new Danny Brown song or like a new Tonight production, but it's in 8-bit quality. And the closing track on this thing is a fantastic finish. It feels like I'm listening to a different compositional style or genre altogether. It's a really epic composition. Again, sounds like it could drop out of that Mega Man soundtrack off of Mega Man 1 or Mega Man 2 or Mega Man X. But the pace of this song is so much speedier. There are some highlights across this track list. However, my issue with at least a handful of the songs here is that they succumb to a lot of the same drop formulas that are currently homogenizing popular electronic music, and this album too. Even though some of these songs may start off with an interesting melody or some interesting ideas, they may build up and then drop into like mirrored grooves that give me a serious sense of deja vu, like on Mad Bummer or City of Mediocrity or Death Online or Blood Money. And it's not even that these tracks alone are bad. Many of these songs would make great singles if they were standing alone. It's just that together as an album, many of these songs are sort of building to the same conclusion, and as a whole just kind of feel like a mixed bag of tracks as opposed to a series of compositions that complement each other over the almost hour runtime of this LP. Still, I thought this record was pretty decent. I liked a great deal of the songs here. I thought it was a pretty refreshing combination of musical styles. This is a cross-section of genres that could have gone seriously awful, but instead it yielded some great results along the way. I'm feeling a light to decent 7 on this thing. Transition, if you've given this album a listen, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? What do you think I should review next? And that's it. Anthony Fantano, IAYD, forever.